The Mini-Sentry, a robot that fills the minds of even the most benign of TF2 players with horror. But what is it really about these things that drive people insane? And are they really the hell-descended agents of terror we believe them to be? Hello, I'm Trevor this too. Bleh. Hello, I'm Trevor this too, and today we'll be taking a look at the Mini-Sentry and all it stands for. Firstly, we're going to have to take a look at this thing's stats. It only costs 100 metal to build and can be armed in 1.5 seconds. It fires 50% faster than the level 1 sentry gun, and it is approximately half the level 1 sentry gun's size in terms of hitbox. And, wait a minute. More useful for sentry jumping? Well, let's see how that goes.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.
Hell of a shot, mister.
Recon. Charge me.
The disadvantages of the Mini-Sentry are that it only has 100 health, making it easy to take out with a pair of well-placed rockets. It also starts at a lower health when building, and it does 50% of the damage of the level 1 sentry, making it deal a total of 25% less damage when combined with the increased firing speed. And it doesn't drop metal when it's destroyed. Now, how could someone find this thing annoying? It's quite simple actually. This thing is redeployed more than the Coast Guard, and just like them, its primary focus is area denial. While the brave servicemen and women in the Coast Guard defend the country, these things are busy defending the territory the engineer has claimed as its own. This area denial purpose in the Mini-Sentry is pretty easily explainable. Take for example this area of viaduct. As we can see, by placing a Mini-Sentry here, you have effectively prevented anyone from entering here without taking damage, effectively shutting down the area. Well, this is no total shutdown, it is most certainly an annoyance to the other team, having to target something as small as the Mini-Sentry in the heat of battle. Here's another example, but this time there's a heavy here and a spy here. The spy goes to stab the heavy, but there's one of these little demons present. So now the spy has to make a choice. Risk the damage and kill the heavy, or sap the sentry and risk not killing the heavy. This dilemma is partially what makes Mini-Sentries so annoying. For 1.5 seconds of your time and 100 metal, you can do so much when with a normal sentry. A lot of preparation and time is used setting up a nest. This is of course only one of the reasons why people hate this thing. A second reason is due to how people use the minis. While you'd expect to see area denial as the primary focus of the gunslinger NGs, you'd instead see one of them going balls deep into the enemy lines, plopping one of these mini f***s onto the ground and hightailing out of there like a beautiful stallion. This is by far the most triggering of all the uses in the Mini-Sentries. If this thing is able to build up undetected, it can often nab 1 or 2 free kills and tons of damage without even being seen. Of course, this is not all people who use the gunslinger should be labeled as so, but people are out there, and they're probably laughing at your team's salty comments. Now, for the final aspect of the annoyance to the sentry guns, is what I like to call the Koth factor. Now, what does the Koth factor mean? Well, if you haven't guessed already, Koth refers to King of the Hill. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to include payload race maps into this section too. See, the problem with these types of maps are that minis are nearly impossible to avoid. With a range of 110 hammer units in all directions, Mini-Sentries can be seriously frustrating to deal with. And once you do, they'll be right back where they were before. In Koth maps, area denial becomes objective denial, because of the small maps and the stationary single objective. This isn't much of a problem on payload and control points, since the objectives vary from place to place. But when you're forced into one area, the gunslinger becomes unbelievably spammable. While the mini-cancer isn't overpowered whatsoever, it's incredibly frustrating to play against, and there's really nothing we or Valve can do about it without destroying the point of the weapon as a whole. So the next best thing we can do is learn how to avoid and kill these blood-boiling contraptions. Well, the first strategy is just to go for them. This one's quite simple, just shoot them first. Like, the likelihood is that the NG who put this thing there didn't think that hard about it. Taking it out with a few well-placed shots isn't as hard as it seems. Option 2 is hindsight. And for this, you're going to want to survey the area before you enter a fight. If there's a mini and you're out of the range, great, spam it out with some shots. If not, go to option 1 and use your surveying knowledge to your advantage. Number 3 is take out the little I know these methods don't work for every class in every situation, but in reality these things aren't too hard to deal with unless you're a pyro or using the meme spoon. But the one thing you absolutely don't want to do is belittle the NG using them. This only feeds into their hellish abyss that is the desire to troll with these things. And it's a surefire way to ensure they continue being trolls. My best advice, if you really are getting fed up with their crap, is ask politely. This works a surprising 75% of the time. If they say no, well then you just have to deal with it, or kill yourself because there's clearly no point of living anymore. No, really, the sad truth is we just have to deal with it, and if you get a rude response back, well, congrats, you get a reason to kick the